Are you ready, Daylon?
Can we make this quick? I have places to be.
Why you gotta be an ass, bro? Damn, don't do
I'm
the
a high
episode
val-
with me then.
I'm a high
Do
value
what?
man, you know.
Okay. Okay, let's just roll the intro before Daylon gets annoyed and leaves. Alrighty, well, welcome back, everybody. This is Nighttime with G, Season 2, Episode 3. I have a very special guest this evening. He cured blindness all over the world. He he's related to John Cena. And his grandfather is Johnny Sins. No, just kidding.
I told you to
Give it
leave
up
that one
for
out.
Daylon. Give it up for Daylon, everybody. Bro, I just had to though. I that's like an achievement on its own. So you got to
Thank you.
brag about it. But anyway, thank you, Dalen, for joining me this evening. I appreciate your time and presence. So, if you don't mind giving a quick introduction for the listeners at home, since you are a fresh new guest that hasn't been on the show at all. So, go for it.
All right. Hello, my name is Daylon. I am from Fort Worth, Texas. I went to school in Corpus at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That's where I met Gerardo about like 5 years ago. Finished school in 3 years, moved back to Fort Worth, and now I'm doing a master's program here in Fort Worth.
For the record, nobody knew where I was going to school or where I was located, Dalen. So, thank you. If I don't make it to next week's episode, we know why now.
Yeah, do not dox Gerardo, you know.
It's okay. I have a VPN on.
uh,
Oh no, but yeah, I can't believe that it's been 5 years, dude, since since we met. Was it
yeah,
back in? It was back in 17, right? Yeah, back in
yeah,
17.
17 because we graduated high school 2016, and then I joined the fraternity spring 17, and Gerardo had joined fall
Yeah,
16. So yeah,
yeah. Dang, dude, it's been a while. But
yeah,
anyway, dude. Well, like again, like I said, thank you for being here. I guess to kind of give a perspective of who Dalen is and everything. Dalen is a man of science, so I just felt that this question was right to ask. But is the world ending, Dalen? Tell us
yes,
why.
the world is ending. I think humans will kill themselves in the next 100 years. You know, we have climate change. We have very limited resources on this planet. That's why we want to go to Mars with SpaceX and all of that. What do you think about
So
it,
not like
Gerardo?
so not like legitimately like
Oh, I don't mean
each
like
person is
anarchy.
doing it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not thinking like anarchy. I'm just saying like there's like how do I word it? Um, I don't want to use the word consequences, but there are things that we're not really aware of that are kind of happening. Like whenever you drink from a plastic water bottle, it's you can't get rid of plastic at all. So imagine the millions of people that still use water bottles, or not just bottles, but anything plastic. Like, what the heck do we do with that plastic? We can't burn it. We can't send it to space. So it just ends up in the ocean, and then yeah, we gotta save the sea turtles.
For sure, for sure. You asked, what do I think of it? Honestly, dude, it's just a crazy thing to think about because there's people that, I mean, pretty much everybody in this country has gone through, similar education systems and overall, like, perceptions, I guess, about the world itself. Because I feel like what we've been taught and what we are exposed to about the rest of the world isn't
Mhm.
actually what's going on, because obviously there are other countries that are more affected by such matters like climate change and stuff like that than
Mhm.
here, because we're far away from it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely do see where you're coming from about that we're essentially the root of where everything will start to slowly end or decay in a sense, because we're very selfish creatures. We always want the best for us in a sense. We always strive for
Mhm.
you know for for that clout, I guess. But
Yeah.
I definitely do think that it's just a matter of time, really. Like this was long anticipated, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so back to that. There's like a lot of conspiracies about how the government wants to kill us, like with the whole vaccines and stuff. But like I said, the government doesn't care about you. The government only cares about themselves. And so um, that's why I say that we're going to kill ourselves. The government is not going to kill us. We're going to end up killing ourselves because just most of the human population has came within like the past couple of 100 years or whatever. So now we're about to hit 8 billion people according to Gerardo. And
yeah, I've done my
imagine if we
research.
just keep, yeah, he did his research, and if we just keep growing at that rate, imagine if all of a sudden we have like 20 billion people or we have 64 billion people. I don't think the earth is capable of sustaining that amount of humans because the earth has been here for so long, but it's the human population has probably back then it was probably just maybe a couple million. I don't know. I don't know how to quantify that because I don't really know too much about like prehistoric times. And so, yeah, I don't think there's enough space for like 64 billion or even 100 billion people. And I think that's why people like Elon or all the billionaires really, because you have what's his name, Richard Branson, right? The guy with the Virgin
Virgin Mobile,
rockets or Virgin Mobile, right?
Virgin Mobile, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to go to space. Elon Musk wants to go to space. Jeff Bezos wants to go to space. I think that's why they all want to go to like all these other planets. It's because they realize like there's only so much space that we have here on this planet.
Yeah, that is very true. I was actually gonna bring up Elon Musk, because you're saying that it's the world is suffering from an overpopulation issue, but in
Yeah.
a recent podcast with the Nelk Boys, Musk
Mhm.
was saying that we had an underpopulation issue. But
Yeah.
I gave it some thought, actually, and I realized that this man has a million or a billionaire mindset.
Yeah.
Your cat,
Yeah.
your cat. So that's the one thing I do love about cats, that they're super like cuddly. But anyway, I realized that he has a the billionaire mindset, where obviously his success and his I guess his where he's going to continue getting his money from, in a sense, is obviously more people. More
Yeah.
people that are buying his products, or more people that are using his products and everything. So that's my theory on why I don't truly agree with his, even though I did at first, I guess, whenever I heard him talk about it. I was like, that kind of does make sense. But then, like I said, I gave it some thought, and I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe he's just doing it on the business side. But
Yeah. Well, the thing
it's
about
it's just crazy.
I was gonna say the thing about Elon is like Elon is not necessarily getting his money from like your average middle class. Like, yeah, you have people who are making like $100,000 and they're like, oh, let me buy a Tesla, right? Tesla Model 3,
Hmm.
very common car. Like when I graduated college, I don't even think there was Teslas like in our parking lots, right? Like, what did you see any Teslas? So it's like a
There was
very like
one.
yeah, but that
There
was
was
probably like the
one.
Model S. It wasn't the Model 3 because the Model S
No.
has been around since like 2012. And
Yeah.
so I don't think Elon gets his money from the your average everyday person. I think he's getting his money from like hedge funds, and then apparently he's had a lot of government incentives that has allowed him to grow his wealth exponentially. Like with SpaceX, he's working with NASA to get these contracts to fly into orbit or whatever. And his whole thing about like the Earth could be underpopulated. I thought it was interesting because I had never heard it from that perspective. But there's like there's like four stages of like, I guess, population. There's this whole theory called demographic transition theory, to where like when civilizations get very advanced, their birth rates decline because there's more contraceptives, people are more educated, and so they realize like, oh, we don't need to have as much babies anymore, right? What, like, think about animals, right? Animals will pop a lot, like dogs, they'll pop a lot of puppies, right? They'll have puppies like I have a dog, she's a Great Pyrenees. She has puppies every year, has like 10 of them. And that's because it's a very like primitive behavior, right? To just have a bunch of kids.
Mhm.
And but once civilization becomes more advanced, that's whenever, like I said, you have lower birth rates, but people are living longer, and so that means you're going to have a lower mortality rate. And so that's what Elon was considering, like underpopulated, just because of the whole low birth rate. But that doesn't, that really, it's kind of like, how do I word it? It doesn't add up. You know what I mean? If you're having,
Mhm.
yeah, you might be having low birth rates, but if people are living longer, and if people are living to what, like 200, now that people are living to what, like some people are like 120, but the average age keeps going up each year because of advances in medicine. um the earth is just going to be overpopulated, like it's already overpopulated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I actually, you reminded me of a TikTok that that somebody was saying. You know how like they've always said, that the biggest scams in the world are usually things like obviously big businesses and stuff like that, but even
Mm-hmm.
college has been thrown in that boat. But
Mm-hmm.
somebody said living, and they were like, how are we humans paying, and yet there's animals roaming this world where they literally just shit and eat
Yeah.
whenever they want and wherever, and essentially they're the ones that domesticated us, I guess, because we're the ones that are taking care of them in the long run. So
True.
it,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting to know that it all just depends on the education level or the developed level of society and even the world it's on its own. Because like you were saying, if nobody, or if there's communities and populations in the world that aren't as developed, chances are
Mm-hmm.
they're going to still be living off of primitive behaviors, and hence they're just going to continue to what's it called,
Just
to
popping
expand.
babies. Yeah.
Yeah, but like how you're saying, there's developed countries that obviously the populations aren't as big as, some of the bigger countries and stuff like that, but it's because the education level is higher than most places, I guess. But even
Yeah.
then, it's still not like it's still not a free knowledge, or it's not like a free education kind of thing. Like you don't really have freedom. I mean, you do have freedom to learn, but you don't really have much of a free education in a sense, because there's so much going around in the world that
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard for the average human in a sense to like focus on one thing in a sense. Like, there's
Yeah.
cloud chasers, there's billionaires,
Mm-hmm.
there's just about everyone in the world. So uh, yeah, I definitely a good point that you brought up. So
Yeah.
what's up?
Oh,
I
nothing.
thought you were gonna say something. My bad. Well, Dalen, I guess just a little kind of backstory. I guess. What is one memory that you miss most about college? I guess a little context too. You did graduate at 20,
Yeah.
which doesn't really make much of a difference because in a month after that you turn 21. But
Yeah.
what is like your favorite like memory from college on its own? Like,
Honestly, college was kind of a weird experience for me at first.
hmm
I went to college. Well, like I said, I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and I went to. I decided to go to college in Corpus because I had a friend who had a condo, and so we were going to be roommates. Everything was going to be amazing, right, or perfect. Anyways, first year, he was let's just say we had a lot of conflicts. I don't want to talk bad about him on this podcast, but we had a lot of conflicts, and so I had to. I kind of stayed away from my own like housing, and I had made a lot of friends that first year or that first semester in college, but a lot of them wanted to transfer to other schools, so I was gonna lose all my friends, and I'm like, well, what do? I don't really want to move. So that's whenever I decided to join the fraternity, and that's when I met Gerardo. I met Gerardo in the spring of 17, and just just surrounding myself around a lot of great gentlemen. We had like a lot of childish moments too, but it was just a very strong support system that was able to that because I could have taken this situation. I could have thought like, oh, Corpus is a terrible place because of this guy from high school, and I could have just gave up and dropped out. But like I said, I was able to find a good support system the following semester, and these are like my lifelong friends that I still talk to this day. And so I think that's what everybody needs. No matter where you're at in life, you need to have a good support system that's always pushing you to do better or just even believes in you. Like me and Gerardo would hang out every single day. Well, we did share a room at one point, but even when we weren't sharing a room, we would still see each other every day. And yeah, you just got to make those strong connections.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. I feel like everyone needs to experience life, on their own. Like, and by that I mean there's multiple definitions on what I could mean by it, but like I feel like even if you're going to college, if you have the excuse me, if you have the privilege to attend college
Hmm.
and not have to worry about it, like as far as financial, damn, I can't burp. Okay, I'm good now. If you have the opportunity to experience it without having to worry about it financially, I feel like it's definitely a good eye-opening experience if you let it, come to you,
Yeah,
because you'll understand more about yourself more than obviously anyone that's ever come across your life, uh, and also you'll find yourself.
yeah,
You'll understand that aspect of what it is to truly find yourself, and you can't get that anywhere else besides experiencing things. Because other than
yeah.
that, it's just kind of you're just kind of existing and not really living in a sense. So I definitely would encourage anyone that has the opportunity to just just live, not
Yeah.
necessarily just exist, but live. So
I wouldn't like to add
definitely.
on to what Gerardo is saying. I wouldn't necessarily say like college is always the answer. Like you could still do something like trade school, or you can try to open up your own business. But let's say you do trade school, right? Trade school is very similar, in my opinion. It's similar to college. It's probably actually better because you're you're like right away you're learning the skills that you need for your career. And so obviously, if it's still like a form of schooling or education, you're going to have classmates, and just by interacting with those people and seeing where they came from, like I think that's a very valuable experience. Now if you choose to like open up your own business, I guess to like sell your product, I don't know what you'd be selling, but you would have to like network with other people to um, find who or yeah who is right for your product. And yeah, like I my goal is to do medical school, but even with these aspirations, like I still don't think college is made for everyone. It's more about networking. So if you don't go to college, make sure that you surround yourself around people that want to be successful. But you have to make sure that you're doing something with your life. You can't just stay at home living with your parents and then not do anything with your life. You got to do something at least. So college, trade school, or your own business. Or if you want, you can work maybe like for 2 years, save up some money, and then do university afterwards, and then pay it full cash. That's okay too. But as long as you're growing, that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You definitely don't want to live in the couch potato aspect of life,
Yeah,
because we're very, we're very big, as us as humans, we're very big on, being creatures of habit. So if we don't push ourselves like on our own,
hmm,
it's going to be really hard to let somebody else kind of push you. Um,
yeah,
but that really all just comes down to like, how bad you want it and stuff like that. Because a lot of the times, people miss out on opportunities because they didn't have enough courage themselves, or they weren't surrounded by people that could have
Mm,
essentially pushed them to take on a big opportunity and stuff like that. So I definitely do owe a lot of it to the people that were around me. I feel like pretty much everyone that's in my life right now, and even if I don't talk to them regularly, like me and Daylon, I feel like Daylon, like even though we don't text or call each other every day, like I know he's still there for me, and I know he knows that I'm there for him as well. Whenever
yeah.
he comes across a random fact, like I know he'll hit me up about it. So I like I said, I definitely have had the people that I've looked up to or at least used to push me to be better and to further myself as a human. So,
Yeah.
I yeah, I appreciate that from your from your perspective and from your side because, like I said, even though you might have not seen it that way, I definitely looked up to you to it at some point. So, but
Thank
yeah.
you.
um, one other thing though, what was I gonna say? I forgot. I forgot the question already. But um, I did mention, Dalen is a man of science and he is very, very factual and very real in a sense. Like
Hmm.
if you definitely want, like a very honest opinion, like, I feel you need a Dalen in your life kind of thing because the amount of time that I've spent with him and I like hung out with him or whatnot, I don't think that it was ever wasted or it was literally just for like passing time kind of thing. Like I felt like I was always learning something from him or of him, or him just kind of clarifying like reality as a whole. Like there was definitely plenty of things that things in the tech world, things in the world in general that Dalen has drawn my attention to because he does his research on things, and that's a big
Yeah.
thing with people nowadays. That they don't, they just hear information and then what's called distribute it to whatever audience they may have, and it just kind of leads them to uh, chasing clout the wrong way in a sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Dalen were to distribute information and be a what's it called, be like a public speaker, not a public speaker, a motivational speaker. Like I definitely feel like he would do a great job about it, just because he himself has had a journey that I'm not gonna get too into it, but he has
Hmm.
had a very intense journey that has shaped him and formed him and sculpted him into the man that he is today. And I feel like it would be a gift to the world if he were to describe life through his perspective. So yeah, I don't know if you've ever thought of yourself that way, but that's how I've seen you sometimes.
And yeah, that's something that I eventually want to. I guess I eventually want to tell the world my story. Um, oh crap! Sorry, there's something on my computer. Um, but just going back to what Gerardo was saying about, man, why am I blanking out right now? What Gerardo was saying about like doing your own research. There we go. A lot of times, this is why, like I brought up earlier, that college might not be the right fit for everyone. But oh no, let me go back. For example, I'm in a master's program right now. I'm around a lot of smart kids, and some of them think college is the only way to get information, right? So let's just say like um, let's say I want to be a nurse, right? But I also want to get into real estate. Well, some people think the only way to learn about real estate is like if I go get a realtor license or if I take some community college real estate classes. But that's not always the case. You can look up some YouTube videos. You can learn about real estate, learn about how you could purchase a house with as little money down as possible, or you could learn about wholesaling, which is like selling the contract to a home. So you can learn through many different ways outside of college or many other platforms away from academia. And that goes back to always growing. You always want to be growing, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be in one field. But if you like, let's say, like, let's go back to the nursing example. Let's say nursing is your passion, but you're also interested in real estate. Well, you can dip your toes in real estate and learn about real estate, but you don't have to go to college for it, you know? So just find other, I guess, like hobbies, right? That'd be a hobby. Your passion or your
Hmm.
career is nursing, but then your hobby would be real estate. So just make sure you like have hobbies. That way you're always learning about different fields and you're not just stuck in one particular field.
Yeah. I feel like the reason why society and the world is where it's at right now is because of the human disconnect, not only with ourselves but with
Mm-hmm.
other people in general. I feel that um, we don't talk anymore.
Yeah.
We literally base everything off of we base everything off of like social media, clout chasing kind of thing. Like it's not humane anymore. It's literally just selfish acts or no act in general. Because like how you were saying, there's people that essentially just live at home for the entirety of their life and don't
Mm-hmm.
do anything with their life, and that's not
Yeah.
okay because it's it's something that us as humans and in our day and age need to be doing. We need to continue growing. We need to continue developing, and even if it seems impossible, it's it's having that thought that has made other people make things possible. So one of
Yeah.
my favorite quotes by Steve Jobs is actually the people that are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do, and it's something like that. I don't think it's verbatim, but
Yeah.
it's true, because people like himself, he revolutionized the personal computer industry, and then boom,
Yeah.
all of a sudden we get AirPods and the iPod Touch and the iPhone. The iPhone was like a big game changer, but not a lot of people nowadays are having those mindsets or those thoughts because they're being secluded by society and by everything that's
Mm-hmm.
going on in the world, to where it adds intimidation to their own perception of life, and it just basically shuts them off from reality as a whole. So I feel like everything that you're saying, it's true. Like we just need to be doing something. We can't um, there's no one else that can control that besides us, our,
Yeah.
our own self. So, but
Yeah. Information is very powerful, but even if it's like, for example, if you want to get learn about doing some kind of martial arts, I think that's still very interesting. Let's say you're single and you're looking for the love of your life, right? The fact that you do martial arts would make you way more interesting over somebody who just like works a 9 to 5, And you just become more you become a more interesting person with the more hobbies that you pick up, or just it doesn't have to be a hobby. Like, for example, I like real estate. Real estate's not my hobby, but I like learning about it, and I can talk to people about the different options of getting into real estate or investing into real estate. And I like learning about the stock market, but that doesn't mean I can all of a sudden qualify for a position on Wall Street, But it still interests
yeah,
me. And so just by having just you have to learn how to teach yourself about a lot of things, and I think that will get you very far in life. Just you don't like I said, you don't need a formal education, because I would never take a real estate class. I would never take a stock market class. But I like learning on my own. And so you got to have that passion to learn on your own. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And definitely not to mislead anyone, but it's true though. I mean, there's a lot of the successful people in today's world, are college dropouts. They're
Yeah.
people that tried college and they realized it wasn't for them, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't stop. They kept going. They kept finding their way of becoming successful, and that's the thing that like how you were saying, if you're not gonna essentially chase your own dream on your own, like at least learn a skill that can
Mm-hmm.
basically have you become marketable to survive, because at the end of the day we're still going to need a job. We're still going to need money to buy food. We're still going to need money to buy clothes, and just give ourselves like a little luxury here and there. But if
Mm-hmm.
if what's it called, if we don't do that, if we just just simply live, or sorry, if we simply exist and not live, then we're obviously not going to
Exactly.
get anywhere. So, but yeah, dude. And honestly, dude, like I said, pretty much everything that we just talked about literally just goes back to how both, I guess both of us are kind of seeing the world slowly fading away from itself.
Hmm.
And it's just sad, it's sad that
Yeah.
we can try to make a difference, but in reality, we're more powerful as a unit than we are individually. Like
Yeah.
that's where you'll drastically see the major changes. So
I think earlier Gerardo had brought up something about um, clout chasers, right? So there's certain people out there that will they'll do anything for a bag, you know. They're trying to, I guess they got to pay their own bills, but how do I word this? You have people that are clout chasers that think they're creating value, and then you have people like billionaires that actually do create value. And so there's a lot of arguments as to why billionaires don't create value. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who started the company. They're the ones who took the risk. They're the ones who put the capital up front to start that company. Like for example, Amazon, right? It was a bookstore. People were buying the books. They found that valuable, and eventually he was able to expand it to what it is today. And now it's like a giant monopoly, even though monopolies are not legal. But you can use those. You can use, obviously none of us are going to be Jeff Bezos one day, but you can use that story to inspire you how a bookstore became the richest company in America or probably even in the world, you know. and
yeah,
um, and the reason why it became the biggest company in the world is because a lot of people saw value in it, and that's what attracts money, is value. And that's
mhm.
what you always want to do. You want to provide value to people and not just chase the clout. Value over clout. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, since you brought up the not being able to beat Jeff Bezos or whatever, like that's beyond a fact.
Yeah.
No one should, if anything, no one should be another Jeff Bezos. No one should be another G in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. No one should be another Daylon. We all should be our own individual,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, like, it's up to us to to chase that goal in a sense. Because even though it might sound like, oh, you'll never be a Jeff Bezos, that doesn't mean that you can't be a better person than Jeff Bezos himself, or
Mm-hmm.
other successful individuals. Like, it's just a
Yeah.
matter of fact that they already put their mark on this planet. So the only way to obviously stand out better is to do better than they did. So, but yeah, um, I mentioned that Dalen is a man of science. So Dalen, I have to ask, bro, are we alone in this world, or in this galaxy and universe, or do you like feel like aliens are just bullshit basically?
Okay, so did you bring up that the podcast with the Milk Boys and Elon, right? You brought that up earlier. I think you did.
Yes,
Okay,
I
anyways,
don't remember.
Kyle, which is one of the owners of Full Send, he had brought up this interesting statement. He said that people brought, yeah, humans created the idea of aliens to only downplay the existence of humans. And I thought that was a very interesting perspective. I might not agree with it completely, but I think it'd be kind of ignorant to say that there is no other life outside of the universe or even Earth, because, like, at least for me, I can't comprehend how big the universe or the universe, the solar system. That's something difficult for me to process. Just like the idea of forever, you know, like some people believe in an afterlife, but even like if like let's say you go to heaven, right? Isn't the idea of something being forever, like, it's just, I can't comprehend it, you know? It's a very scary thought, and so I think aliens are just as scary as the idea of forever. Or just, I don't know. I think our brains are not able to comprehend certain things. Yeah.
Well, I guess to add to that, our brains aren't like liberated to think outside of that line, that fine line of whether it's real or not, because it doesn't make any sense as to it, like life itself. It doesn't make any sense to where it's, I don't even know how to put it, like it's a fact kind of thing. Like for all we
Yeah.
know, this, we could be living in a simulation kind of thing,
Yeah.
or we could literally just not really be existing, and it's all just a matter of a thought process, I guess.
Yeah.
Someone's thought process. But even then, someone could be anything,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, everything started somewhere, and we we as humans just basically picked up on the things. Like we
Yeah.
picked up on the English language, we picked up on all the languages that exist in the world. We picked up on the different skills, but how do we know that that itself is even the right way to do things? It's just,
Yeah.
it's just a very big and very long, complicated thought process. Sorry.
Hmm.
So, wow.
No, I definitely agree with that. It's like I know I was watching this. It was a sci-fi movie. It had Keanu Reeves in it, and basically, well, the movie is called Replicas, right? So Keanu
Mm-hmm.
Reeves works at this giant biotech company, and his job is to transfer consciousness, so a person's mind, into a robot. Well, at the beginning of the movie, he fails. Well, he technically didn't fail, but the robot started like harming itself because it was a human in a robot body, and he's like, what the heck, this isn't my body, and he went crazy and he attacked himself. Well, anyways, they go into the pro and they eventually Keanu Reeves figures out what went wrong, and he's able to like actually transfer consciousness. And so I know, like, as of now, Elon Musk is trying to do something similar with Neuralink, and he's doing that with the monkeys. And so I think we've just reached a very like advanced part of society to where I think we're gonna have a bunch of new questions arise within these next couple of years, and they're gonna be very. I don't think there's gonna be a definitive answer, but we just keep as I think they say like information doubles like every 5 years or so, and yeah, we're just gonna keep opening up more questions as the years go by, and that's kind of scary to think. Because if you think about it, even medicine, right? Medicine is really
Yeah.
like, at least modern medicine, most of the drugs that you see today were only created within the past 100 years. Now they're similar to some natural compounds that you can get from plants and stuff. But your diabetes medication, it was made less than 100 years ago. Your blood pressure medication, 100 years ago. And so we just keep discovering new things, and then we have more questions, and then we discover more things, and then more questions, and it never ends. And so that goes back to the
Yeah.
idea of forever. Like forever is a very difficult thing to comprehend, and so are aliens, because if you can't comprehend how big the universe is, how can you completely dismiss the existence of aliens? It doesn't make sense. It'd be ignorant for you to make that statement, because now you're thinking about a different organism, and maybe that organism doesn't need oxygen, right? What if they rely on some random element like, I don't know, like cobalt, and there's a lot of cobalt on planet Z. So yeah, there goes that.
Dude. Yeah. I don't know. I definitely I feel like I'm a little mind blown right now, just because it's, I don't know, like it just, I don't know. I'm starting to question life. No, I'm just kidding. Just mid podcast, just question life and existence. No,
Yeah.
but it's just crazy to think about it, because if you go back and put things in a simpler manner, um, TV shows
Yeah.
have they portrayed life. They portrayed different topics, different subjects, I guess,
Hmm.
in their own way.
Yeah.
But I'll give you an example. I was trying to get to Rick and Morty. So, for example, Rick and Morty, right?
Hmm.
A lot of the characters are on the show are based off of thoughts from whoever created the show, but
Yeah.
also the way that the humans in the show, quote unquote humans, the way that they
Hmm.
look is how somebody else sees them. let's change to a different show. The way that Bob's Burgers characters look, it's the way that somebody sees humans in their way. Same thing with, stuff like, the Fairly Odd Parents, or like,
Yeah.
any animated series like has a perception of humanity in their own way. But it's just crazy to think that shows, for example, like Rick and Morty, give that infinity or that forever a visual example, in a sense, because these guys are traveling, through different universes and through different like
Mm-hmm.
galaxies, or through different paradigms, I guess. And they don't make sense if we think about them in our world. But if we're
Yeah.
watching it in the show, it's like, oh my God, like it makes sense. It like there's
Mm-hmm.
a storyline behind it, I guess. But it's just really hard to like accept it, I guess, in the actual human world that we're living in or whatever. So um, I don't know. I just find that really crazy. And then, I mean, of course, we can even get into a recent movie with, for those of you who haven't seen Multiverse of Madness, go fucking watch the movie. I'm going to spoil it. But anyway, in Multiverse of Madness, like, they're, even there, they're adding, their own perception of different humans. Because for starters, superhumans, everybody that,
Yeah.
is a part of the Avengers or whatever. But also the fact that in this movie itself, they, uh, they portrayed and they showed the different universes that supposedly exist, in a sense. So I guess they
Yeah.
put what is it string theory that talks about different universes, or
Yeah. I
I
think
forgot what
so.
theory it was. I think it is string theory, but yeah. So it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy that things like that exist in our world, but yet it's just so hard to comprehend that simple of a thought, I guess.
Yeah. I think you just with complicated stuff like this, you just have to be very open minded. And I think a lot of people that are successful, they're very open minded because the moment you become close minded is whenever you start rejecting new ideas. And whenever you start rejecting new ideas, you're no longer able to grow as an individual. And so without new
Yeah.
ideas, there's no innovation. With no innovation, society can no longer grow as well. And like it's okay for TV shows to try to like dumb out the concept of like universes and time traveling or whatever, or but there's people that will just completely ignore the idea of like other planets, in existence. And so those people are very close minded, and I feel like those are the individuals that don't get as far in life.
But now I'm gonna butt into this right now. But if you think about it, the people that came up with the show, are they more smart or more intelligent than the actual scientists and
I think they're
physicists
just
or whatever that are behind that concept? Or like it just
I think
doesn't
they're just
make
providing
sense.
they're just providing a perspective. They're not saying that, hey, I'm right. It's just a
Hmm.
perspective, and a lot of it just has to do with imagination. But they
Yeah.
know about like different universes and stuff like that, and so it's just everything is like it's hard to say everything is definite. Like not even time is definite, right? Time, at least here on Earth, is based off the sun, our rotation around the sun, and then the Earth rotating on its axis, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why whenever you're in space, I think you measure in light years or whatever. I don't know anything about
Hmm.
space, but um, yeah, even something as simple as time, that's not definite. Yeah, we do age as humans, but so do dogs. But one dog year is not equal to one human year. Same thing goes for cats.
Yeah.
One cat year is not equal to one human year or one dog year, and so it's hard to say anything is really absolute. Even
Hmm.
our existence, right? We don't know if it's absolute. Like Gerardo was saying, it could be a simulation. You never know. Nobody has really come
So
back from the dead.
yeah, that's true. So you reminded me of an epiphany I had. I don't even know if epiphany would be the right word,
Yeah.
but this is super super random. So prepare yourself. But I was over at our buddy JD's house, in
Hmm.
where his parents live, and I was looking at his mom has cats, so I was looking at
Yeah.
one of the cats, and dude, I swear to God, it was like an enlightenment moment for me, because
Hmm.
I thought of it in a matter of a minute or two.
Hmm.
basically everything that exists in this world is the same thing, except the limitations and abilities that that specific thing would have. So, for example,
Yeah,
a cat or a dog or a
yeah,
giraffe, they have similar abilities, but they're limited on certain features. For example, obviously, the way that they look is one thing. So
yeah.
we're humans, we can walk too, but we walk on two legs. Cats walk on
Hmm.
four legs, and so it's just crazy to think that even I guess the relationship of how close um, we could be to something as pretty outlandish as like an insect. That insect has legs, but it has more legs than we do. But that doesn't mean that those legs aren't considered legs. They're still legs, just in
Hmm.
different formats, I guess. So I don't know. It was just a really weird, it was just a really weird epiphany that I had,
No, that is a
because
that is a
yeah,
great yeah, no, that's a great thing to bring up because like you said, it's like we have legs and then insects have legs. So what is a leg? Like obviously it's
yeah,
like it's a what is it, appendage? I think that's the word. But they're still technically legs, so everything is kind of like subjective. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't think of any other examples. Oh, for example, like what is it? Well, I don't want to use gender because gender is a societal term. Um, Cars, there we go. Cars is a great example. Cars were used to be based on having a engine that has some kind of combustion reaction, and that's how you move. And now they're
Mm-hmm,
eliminating that combustion, or the what is it called? ICE, yeah, ICE engine, the internal combustion engine, yeah. And
mm-hmm,
they're eliminating that, and now they're replacing it with batteries. So now we're seeing cars are batteries or whatever. And so things
yeah,
change over time. And like I said, you can't just be closed minded. You have to be open minded because there will always be advancements in just about any field. Mm.
yeah, yeah. That's very crazy to think too, because I mean, at some point, uh, I don't know how to put it. Like at some point, a spaceship, for example, was a car because it still could be classified as a vehicle in a sense.
Yeah, as
It
a
still
vehicle, yeah.
has similar capabilities as a car would because
Hmm.
it transports either people or things in a sense. So yeah, it's just a matter of subjecting things. I guess that you can. I don't know. It's too.
That's what I'm saying. Things change over time. Everything is open to interpretation, and so if you're not
Yeah,
willing to accept that, you won't really. You'll probably have that same mindset for other fields too, and so you just
yeah,
you have to constantly be learning is what I'm trying to say. You know, be willing to
yeah.
learn.
We're gonna go ahead and take a quick moment and talk about our sponsor, H. No, I'm just kidding, dude. Honestly, I really hope that this turns out really well, and at some point I can actually like say that I do have a sponsor. But no, I wanted to bring up this sparkling water beverage that my coworker put me on. Um, it's a 0-calorie beverage and it has no sugar or sodium in it,
Hmm.
but it's sweet.
Let me
And
grab my drink.
oh, he's grabbing his Red Bull. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
um,
probably.
a fun fact about Daylon: when I met this man was drinking. I'm not even gonna say the amount. I'm not even gonna say
Yeah.
the amount that he was drinking because that was just ridiculous. But we have another fraternity brother who's just as bad, if not worse. But this man was drinking hot energy drinks. You and Ed, bro,
Yeah.
were drinking hot energy drinks. That I know for a fact is your favorite though, because you've been drinking it since I've known you. Which is the
Yeah.
Monster Zero
The white
Sugar,
one.
which
Yeah.
which tastes like grapefruit or like a Sprite, I
Yeah.
guess.
I agree.
Dude, but Ed was drinking. What were they? Bangs and Rains.
No, it was
That
no, it was a monster teas like those. I don't like those.
oh, God, dude.
I think it's called rehab, the teas or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't like.
something like that. Would you say that would you contribute some success to the artificial, in a sense, energy that you were getting from caffeinated drinks? Because you were drinking these regularly, like you were
Yeah.
drinking them like water bottles. Like,
Um. So
is this your
back
fuel
to
kind
my,
of thing?
I would say they are, but back to my college days, I really wasn't sleeping as much. I would get like 6 hours of sleep on a good day, but most of the time it's like maybe like five or so. And that's because it's not because I was like always partying, it's because I was working full time, and then I kind of rushed my graduation. I should have stayed on campus for 4 years, but I rushed it for 3 years, and I never really had energy. And so these monster drinks, they never put me like in an elevated state, but they just put me at a normal state that I should be at with like a healthy amount of sleep.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, no, I just remember Daylon literally always having one in his hand or in his car. But yeah, I definitely I used to depend on them a lot, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I still kind of do. But I've heard many things about the, I guess, caffeinated drinks that supposedly it's not even true caffeine. It's just basically shutting your brain down from feeling tired in a sense. So I don't know how or what your take is on that, or how legit that really is. I haven't done much research on it, so that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's not true. It's just it's the way your neurotransmitter works. So basically, what these do is like, you have your neurons that connect like that, and then you have something called what's it called again? Basically, there's like this space, right, and that's where the neurotransmitters get and they stay. And so if you block the
Yeah,
neurotransmitters from coming back into the neurons, then you'll
yeah,
be able to like um, experience the effect of that neurotransmitter longer. And so that's what caffeine does. It basically closes the neurons and it's like, okay, we're going to leave that, like, let's say dopamine, right? Everybody knows what dopamine is. You leave the dopamine there and you experience the dopamine longer. And so the reason you feel the crash is because eventually you're going to have the caffeine's going to wear off. And then all of a sudden you're going to have the neurons are going to reuptake the dopamine. And then
mhm,
but you're this time you're reabsorbing more dopamine, and so you're going from here to there all of a sudden. And so that's why stimulants are not good. But if you do it every day, you'll build a tolerance, which isn't any more healthier, but you won't crash. Yeah.
yeah. It
But
essentially just stops working, basically.
yeah, but I do agree that there is long-term consequences for drinking energy drinks, but I do have something wrong with my like intestines too, where like I don't absorb all the stuff or the stuff that I consume, including like drinks and what is it, food. So it won't affect me as much as it does to the normal person. That's why I do it every day. Like I could eat McDonald's every day and I wouldn't gain weight, which I did that like last week. I ate chicken nuggets for the whole week, like 20-piece chicken nuggets, and I did not gain a single pound.
And Daylon likes to brag about that. No, I'm just kidding. He
Yeah.
likes to brag about his Iron Man body, basically. This man built different. But no, yeah, dude. Well, I guess more or less this is more for clarity for me. So is that so basically that's what caffeine is, or is that what caffeinated drinks are? What you
well,
just
that's it.
explained.
So that's how most like for example, antidepressants work very similarly. They do the same thing too. The longer you have the neurotransmitter in that space is the more time that you're going to experience the effects of that neurotransmitter. And so caffeine, that's like that's one of the things it does, but it also does some other stuff that the normal person wouldn't understand because of its complicated biochemistry pathways. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
just know if the neurotransmitter is longer in the space, that means you're going to experience the effects of it longer, and that's what caffeine
Mhm.
does. That's what antidepressants do, and that's what some other drugs do. Not all drugs, because each drug has its own mechanism, but antidepressants have to do with neurotransmitters. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I had heard of it, but like I said, I didn't do my research on it. It's just something I had heard on TikTok. But um, we're gonna kind of, I guess, play this episode a little backwards. So I didn't really. This is obviously your first time on the podcast, and
Yeah.
obviously you're a part of the new season, which is it's a new approach as what I'm trying to do with it. So I'm basically going to explain to you how the podcast is supposed to work or how I want it to work in a sense.
Hmm.
More or less, obviously, have my guests come on the show and whatever. I was supposed to actually start it with giving you the question so you can think throughout throughout the recording session of who you want to pick for the next speaker. But anyway, so this season I'm wanting, for my I'm giving the liberty for whoever my guest is to popcorn choose. Yeah, I'm throwing elementary school style, bro. To popcorn choose the next guest. Now, last week Jordan brought up a good point, and I'm gonna add to it as well. He gave me an alternative choice. So he said basically, if you weren't available, uh, he gave me a second person to contact to see if they were able to do it, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna use that rule from here on out. So um, before you reveal next who the next guest will be or could be, I also want you to add your message to the world. Let's say this blows up and it gets big. What is your message that you want, I guess, the world to know Daylon as,
So
or
do you want the
Daylon by,
people
I
first,
guess.
or you want my message?
No, your message first, and then we'll reveal the person.
Okay, so my message, I think it was a common theme in this, is just to always be learning. It doesn't have to be through
Mhm.
school, just you can learn through YouTube, you can learn through TikTok. Like I learned how to buy PS5s. I used to scout PS5s. And
He's
yeah,
why
some
you
people,
can't find them.
yeah, I'm a greedy capitalist. Yeah, let's say that. But a lot of people think TikTok is it's just for dancing and stuff, but no, you can learn a lot. It's just it depends on the accounts you follow and the videos you like. But yeah, always be learning, always be growing, and always be open minded because you're never going to be right 100% of the time. You're going to be wrong, and I think the most successful people, they're willing to accept that they're wrong sometimes. Like even you have big companies like Microsoft, like they try to what did they buy? They did that streaming platform and they failed at that. And so yeah, you can't be good at everything. So just be more open minded and accept that you're gonna be wrong. And as long as you're willing to learn from that failure or learn from that wrong, you'll get very far in life.
Because failure is a necessity and not a choice.
Exactly.
So yeah. Well, thank you, Dalen, for being on the podcast. I appreciate your time and presence and knowledge and information. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to eventually having you again in the near future or so. Um, but yeah, now it's time for the main thing. The thing that everyone waits for the for the end of the episode, to know who the next victim is. No.
Let me think.
I would say I would say try to keep it like realistically though, I guess, in a sense, because
Elon Musk.
they're well, no, just because obviously we have some friends that are in,
uh,
in professional careers, so we can't
yeah.
really have them. I mean, we can, but it's just going to be a very limited topic. So
So you've done Antonio and Jordan, but you haven't done
hmm.
JD yet, right? Yeah, JD.
Not in this season. Not in this season. Yeah,
Yeah, so let's just do JD again. And if
JD.
not
Okay. Do you
JD,
have an alternative? Yeah. Do you have
if
an
not
alternative?
JD, let me think. Man, we have a lot of weird people that we know. Uh, crap.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
if
why
you'll
I
be
should
able
have
to.
asked you at the beginning.
No, you get. I don't know if you'll be able to reach him, but why did I just blank out? I had his name. How did I literally forgot his name. I feel so messed up for forgetting his name. Where did my phone go?
Is it a fraternity brother?
Yeah, it's a fraternity brother, but oh crap! Sorry, this is very
Are we talking about
disrespectful.
Chris or who?
Oh no, not Chris. Um,
Javi.
yeah, let's do Avi. No, wait, I'll get his name. I'm sorry that I blanked out, but it happens.
Or
Darren. Put him
Darren?
in
Oh,
Darren.
okay.
Yeah, Darren would be a good one. I feel like he has a interesting story to tell.
Okay. Yeah, he
'Cause
definitely has had a good background. What's up?
honestly, I didn't even see his name on my phone. I just saw his last name Zavala, and then I saw the D, and I
Yeah.
just had to remember the letter. I'm like, okay, there we go. But yeah, Darren
Okay.
was the person who kind of like kicked off the fraternity for us, and he yeah, he was one of the first brothers to graduate, and so that's why I couldn't remember his name. It's been like what four
It's
four years
seven
since I
years.
last saw
I'm
him.
just kidding.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a long time. So, and he joined the military too. That's why I think he'll bring an interesting perspective.
Okay. Okay. Well, you did say JD first, so we'll stick with JD first, and
Or
hopefully
no, flip
somebody
it.
popcorns.
Let's flip it.
Flip it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that way, because I feel like JD will say yes, but I'm not too sure about Darren, and so
Okay.
let's make the harder one first. You get what I'm saying? Because if JD said no, then you
Okay.
have nobody after. Um, yeah, right. Because if JD said no, you would have. Oh no, no,
Well, I mean,
just
it would just be whoever. So the way that it had worked already, the original one was it was Antonio first speaker, and he chose David. But David,
mhm.
unfortunately, because of the time, it just didn't work with his schedule. So he chose Izzy, but Izzy
Mhm.
had a busy schedule too. So he ended up choosing Jordan, and Jordan chose you first, and then he had Chris as the alternative. So
That's what I'm saying. If JD said no, then I think Darren would say no. So let's just make Darren first, because then you wouldn't have
okay,
anybody
we'll
after
reach
that.
out. We'll reach out to Darren and Darren first, and then we'll we'll um, we'll hit up JD, which I'm pretty sure JD would be down for sure, without a doubt. But I
Mm.
guess we'll fulfill Dalen's dream, and hopefully hopefully we hear from Darren.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, um, with that being said, that pretty much wraps it up, dude. Again, appreciate it, man. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you succeed. And yeah, so anything else to add, or you're good?
No, that was it. Thank you for having me.
All alrighty. Well, I'm gonna roll the outro and then call it a day. So this was Nighttime with G, season 2, episode 3. Special guest star Daylon, aka Johnny Sin's grandchild. All right, bye, y'all.